right, welcome back. We're going to be starting Unit 3, and that will be on probability and trigonometry. So we'll go ahead and title that there, flip to the front, and we'll add this to our table of contents. Unit 3, and we'll start on page 20. Page 20 is on area models. We're going to be using area models to find probabilities. And let's just put that there for probability. So we're going to flip this back. Page 20. Put that down at the bottom. Right there. All right. Area models for probability. All right, so let's go ahead and start with a problem. So let's assume half the US population can bend their thumb backwards. All right, and also half the population can also roll their tongue. So typical questions that might go with this is, what's the probability a person can bend their thumb and roll their tongue? And also, what's the probability a person has at least one of those traits? Both of those questions down. All right, so one of the tools that we're going to use in math to solve this problem is what's called an area model. It's just like the area models that you've already seen. So let's take, for example, the question at hand. So we have some information. Can you bend your thumb backwards? So the answer to that question is either a yes or a no. So it had told me up here that half can do that. So half will say yes to that question, half will say no to that question. So we can go ahead and start putting this into a little table here. The other question is, can you roll your tongue? So the answer to that question again is either going to be yes or no. And according to the initial information, half can roll their tongue and half can't roll their tongue. Let's go ahead and just build this little area model here. Make it all pink. So just like you've done in the past, I can find the combination of the two. So for example, a person who can both bend their thumb and roll their tongue is this box right here, which is represented by 1/2 times, so yes, I can roll my tongue, and yes, I can bend my thumb, which is going to be, you just multiply the two together, and we get 1/4. Go ahead and take a second. You can push pause and fill out the rest of this area model. All right, let's see what you got. So we've got 1/2 times 1/2 again, which is 1/4. Put an equal. Going over here, the nose. No, I can't roll my tongue. Yes, I can bend my thumb. 1/4 of the population can do that. No, I can't roll my tongue. And yes, I can bend my thumb. Oh, no, I can't bend my thumb. So that's also 1/4. So this area model is going to help me answer the question above. What's the probability? So A, what's the probability a person can bend their thumb backwards and roll their tongue? Well, bend their thumb backwards is, I'm looking for a yes and a bend and yes and a roll. So if I go yes, yes, that's this right here. So that would be 1/4. So the probability a person can do both is 1/4 or 0.25. We prefer if you left it as a fraction. All right, and then we can go to the second question. What's the probability a person has at least one of those traits? So I'm asking, what's the probability they can bend their thumb or they can roll their tongue? So we're looking for at least one trait. So if I look for that, what I have here is I have 3 cases. I'm looking for anything with a yes. Yes, I can roll my tongue. So that includes this right here. Yes, I can roll my tongue also includes this right here. And then yes, I can bend my thumb. So I actually have 3 boxes that fall in having one of those traits. This is the only place where I don't have any of those traits. So this is just going to be 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. So in other words, 3/4 of the population has at least one of those traits. They can either bend their thumb or roll their tongue. All right, not too bad. Now, what I said up here is not actually the truth. It's not half and half. So those numbers are slightly different. In reality, only 1/4 of the population can bend their thumb backwards, and 7/10 of the population, so many people, can roll their tongue. What I'd like you to do is we're going to create the same area model, but the numbers are going to change. So we're still going to have bend thumb. We're going to ask that question. So the proportion of people that say yes is different than above. All right, so what is it? The proportion of people that can bend their thumb is 1/4. If 1/4 of the population can bend their thumb, then what percent or what proportion cannot? Well, that would have to be 3/4, because these two numbers have to add up to 1. All right, what about roll the tongue? Well, again, it's either yes or no. Now, up here it says 7/10 can roll their tongue. So if 7/10 can roll their tongue, 3/10 cannot roll their tongue. So we're going to go ahead and make the area model. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and go ahead and fill in this table and see if you can answer the questions above as well. So again, the probability of bend and roll, and the probability of at least one trait. All right, let's go ahead and see what you have. So I'm going to take 7/10 and I'm going to multiply it by 1/4. So you should get multiplying fractions. I just multiply straight across. So 7/40. Then for this area, it's going to be 7/10 times 3/4, which is going to give me 21/40. This is going to be 3/10 times 1/4, which is equal to 3/40. And then finally 3/10 times 3/4, which is 9/40. So now let's go ahead and look over here at our questions and use this area model to determine our answers. So what's the probability that a person can bend their thumb and roll their tongue? So remember, the and is the yes to both, which would be right here. So that would be 7/40. The probability of at least one of the traits is going to be this one, because it's yes to the roll the tongue and yes to the bend the thumb. And if I just add up all those numbers, so 7/40 plus 21/40 plus 3/40 is going to be 28, 29, 30, 31/40. This is where I would leave it as fractions, because if I changed them to percentages, I'm going to get some round off errors. This kind of gives me an idea of, if I have 40 people, then I would expect 31 of them to have one of those traits. Same thing right here. If I had 40 people, then I would expect 7 of the people to be able to do both, bend their thumb as well as roll their tongue. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.